Hello all, welcome to UPSC with Sukumar. So in the physical geography series we are explaining about the origin of Earth. So till now we have understood the origin of stars, universe and various planets. So in this video in the NCERT itself we will understand regarding the evolution of the Earth. So let's understand the evolution of the Earth right now. So 4.6 billion years ago Earth has been formed, right, from the leftover dust and gas after the sun's birth. So that means after the birth of the sun, the leftover dust and gas combined to form the origin of the Earth through the process of accretion. So the meteors and various planets and wheels collided, releasing the huge amount of heat energy. So initially what happened, the Earth after forming, it is hot, extremely hot, and it is rocky also with a very thin amount of atmosphere, which is mainly consisting of hydrogen and helium. So how the Earth from hot rock to the blue planet today, that with the abundant amount of water has been formed. So Earth's surface initially after the formation began to cool down slowly and the outer layers are solidified. That means the outer layer of the Earth has been getting solidified, forming the crust layer. So if we see today, we can classify the Earth into different layers like crust, mantle and core. So initially after the cooling of the Earth, the crust has been formed, the uppermost layer of the Earth. So after that what happened, water vapor, carbon dioxide and various other gases have been started escaping from the Earth's interior. Once they have escaped from the Earth's interior through the process of degassing, the secondary atmosphere has been formed on the Earth atmosphere. So initially only carbon dioxide, water vapor, ammonia, methane and nitrogen has been formed in the initial stages of the Earth formation, but there is no oxygen. So because of this no oxygen, but the water vapor has been released into atmosphere, right, and because of which condensation has been happened, and because of that there is a huge amount of rainfall has been happened on the Earth, because of which what happens, oceans will be formed. So because of the cyanobacteria that has been present in these specific oceans, and which in turn will do the photosynthesis, because of which oxygen will be released, right. The end product of the photosynthesis is the release of oxygen. So oxygen began to build up in the atmosphere, that is breathable gas, that is the breathable gas, and Earth has cooled further down and water vapor condensed and more rains has happened and oceans has also been formed. Fine, and that's how the life has been emerged. Okay, so emergence of life also. So initially simple cells appeared around the 3.8 billion years ago. Gradually they have been, these simple forms has been evolved into complex life forms such as fish, amphibians, reptiles, mammals and finally humans. So the materials present inside the Earth are not uniform in nature. That means they have different densities, right, different densities and all. So having different densities and compositions, the Earth was, when it was molten in nature, what happened, heavier elements like iron and nickel. Presently when we see the core region of the Earth, we can see iron and nickel presence in the core region of the Earth. So the uppermost layer is the crust and the middle one is the mantle and the innermost one is the iron and nickel when we see the composition of the Earth. So these are the heaviest ones, and that's because itself only the iron and nickel have settled to the core region. That's how the core of the Earth has been formed. And what happened to the lighter elements present in those molten Earth? Lighter metals like silicates rose to form the crust and mantle through the process of differentiation process. Different layers or the materials has been arranged in a different way according to the densities of those materials. That's how the Earth different layers has been formed. So when you see the evolution of the earth in the primordial stage of the earth, that means in the initial stages of the earth was a molten in nature, and differentiation has formed the different layers in the atmosphere. So differentiation means through the process of differentiation itself only heavier materials went into the core region, that is nickel and iron, and the lighter silicates formed the crust and mantle region. So heavier iron and nickel sank and lighter element silicates rose. So cooling and crust formation also happened. So earth has been cooled and crust has been formed, that is called as the solidification process. And the atmosphere has happened in formation. Atmosphere has formed in 3 stages, that is the loss of primordial gases because of the solar winds. Primordial gases has been lost, and because of the volcanoes there will be releasing of gases to the atmosphere, and photosynthesis added the oxygen to the atmosphere. So that's how the atmosphere formation has been formed because of the solar winds. We can see, as I have said, the primordial gases has been gone, and water vapor which has been released, which has been escaped from the interior of the earth, is get condensed in the atmosphere and filled the depression with the precipitation through which it has happened. Rainfall has been happened, and because of the chemical evolution in the oceans, organic molecules formed the simple life, and photosynthesis added oxygen and enabled the complex life. So that's how the evolution of earth has been happened. So now we will read in the NCERT. Planet Earth initially was a barren, rocky and hot object with a thin atmosphere of hydrogen and helium. This was far from the present day of the earth. So there must have been some events and process, right, through which the changes has been happened with the present earth having the ample amount of water and conducive atmosphere as well. Conducive atmosphere favoring the existence of the life. So in this section we will understand the how the period between 4600 million years and the present led to the evolution of life on the surface of the planet Earth. So the Earth has the layered structure, as we have explained, crust, mantle and the core one. So from the outermost end of the atmosphere to the center of the Earth, the material that existed is not uniform because there is a variations in the density. The atmospheric matter has least density from the surface to the deeper depths. The Earth interior has different zones, and each of these contains materials with different characters. That means we can say the density and composition also. Density and composition. So evolution of the lithosphere. So what is lithosphere? The Earth was mostly in a volatile state during the primordial stage. Mostly volatile in the primordial stage means in its initial stages, due to the gradual increasing in the density and temperature inside, the temperature inside has increased. Due to gradual increase in density, the temperature, because of the increasing of density in the internal structure of the earth, the temperature inside also has increased because of the density. As a result, the materials inside started getting separated depending upon their densities, right? This allowed the heavier materials like iron to sink towards the center of the earth, and the lighter ones, we can say silicates moved towards the surface. With passage of time, it cooled further and solidified and condensed to the smaller size. This later led to the development of the outer surface in the form of crust. So during the formation of the moon, due to the giant impact, the earth was further heated up. It is through the process of differentiation that the earth forming material got separated into different layers. Starting from the surface to the central parts, we have different layers like crust, mantle, outer core and the inner core. From the crust to the core, the density of the material increases because through the process of differentiation itself only, see, the silicates are in the upper layers because of less density, and the nickel and iron, which is having the more density, is settled in the core. So because of that only, the density will increase when we travel towards the core region of the earth. So we shall discuss regarding these properties of the earth in detail in the next chapter. Okay, so now we will understand the evolution of atmosphere and hydrosphere. The present composition of the earth's atmosphere chiefly contributed by the present atmosphere is chiefly contributed by nitrogen and oxygen. but you will be dealing with the composition and structure of the Earth's atmosphere in the chapter 8 in the coming chapters. So initially there was 3 stages in the evolution of present atmosphere. The first stage is marked by the loss of primordial atmosphere because of the solar wind, and in the second stage what happens, the hot interior of the Earth contributed to the evolution of the atmosphere, right? And finally the composition of the atmosphere modified by the living organisms, right? Because of the through the process of photosynthesis, oxygen was entered into the atmosphere. The early atmosphere with hydrogen and helium is supposed to have been stripped off as a result of the solar winds. This happened not only in the case of Earth but also in the terrestrial planets. That means the first 4 planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars. These are the terrestrial planets which were supposed to have lost their primordial atmosphere, though through the impact of solar wind. So due to the cooling of Earth, gases and water vapor were released from the Earth's interior. This started the evolution of the present atmosphere. So because of the escape of the water vapor and various gases from the internal structure, interior of the Earth, interior of the solid Earth, present atmosphere has been happened. So the early atmosphere largely contained water vapor, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, methane, ammonia and very little amount of free oxygen. So because of the water vapor getting condensed, there has been continuous amount of rainfall has been happened, and water vapor release started getting condensed, and the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere got dissolved in this rainwater, and the temperature further decreased, causing more condensation and more rains. The rainfall falling onto surface got collected into the depressions, that means the lower surfaces, that means small amount of depressions will be there. That means the land is not even in nature. That gives rise to the oceans. The Earth oceans were formed some 500 million years from the formation of the Earth. This tells us that oceans are as old as 400 million years, sometimes around 3800 million years ago. So life has begun to evolve from then. However, around 2500 to 3000 million years before the process of photosynthesis got evolved. So life confined to the oceans for a very long time. Oceans began to have the contribution of the oxygen through the process of photosynthesis. Eventually oceans were saturated with oxygen, and around 2000 million years ago oxygen began to flood the atmosphere. And the last phase in the evolution of the Earth relates to the origin and evolution of life. It is undoubtedly clear that initially the Earth or even the atmosphere of the Earth was not conducive for the development of life. Modern scientists refer to the origin of life as a kind of chemical reaction which first generated the complex organic molecules and assembled them. This assemblage was such that they could duplicate themselves, converting the inanimate matter into living substances. The record of life that existed on this planet in different periods is found in the rocks in the form of fossils. So the record of the life that existed on this planet in different periods is found in the rocks in the form of fossils. The microscopic structures closely related to the present form of blue algae has been found in the geological formations and older than some 3000 million years. It has been assumed that the life began to evolve somewhere around 3800 million years ago. So this is regarding the first chapter, how the evolution of Earth has been happened, how the origin of stars and various theories regarding the formation of universe and the stars. So this is regarding the first chapter. So in the next video I will start with the third chapter. If you want to give any suggestions regarding improving the content of these videos, please do comment in the comment section. Thank you.